I'm sitting next to the window, catching what's remaining of the sunshine before it gets colder out. Anyway, I said I would do a brief review of what was discussed during the Salkis Ray interview, or summary rather. All right. Okay. Um, Happy Sunday. I hope you had a blessed weekend and that your week is awesome. Um, I'm gonna go through things pretty quickly because I go to my external later on, and I got quite a bit to get in here. Again, the interview was 3 hours and 33 minutes. I highly recommend, um, if the breadcrumbs that I leave aren't enough, that you check her out on her Patreon at theugly.com. And it is for the premium members. Membership is $20 a month. She did keep the replay of the interview. She's had some other people I've tuned into in the past that have been great interviewees as well. Okay. I highly recommend if you're here. I took a course for a year under Reverend Valerie Love called A Course in Miracles. Their website is acim.org. I would suggest reading a passage a day and reflecting on it for meditation. Highly recommend it. All right, so in this discussion or the interview, young ladies like me starting out, having trouble getting out into the world and being comfortable with ourselves. I'm very comfortable now. I'm letting that light shine really bright. But I told her that it had to start with forgiveness of herself. Forgiveness of yourself, and then you've got to forgive those around you that you feel like you've been hurt by. So forgiveness played a very large part in my healing process. And then we discussed things like heaven and hell. By the way, I did post the poem earlier, I Am Every Woman in Here. And I started off the discussion with that poem. Very powerful piece, very potent piece. And I'm already done. Okay, so people can sell you their heaven, their hell. You don't necessarily have to buy into it. Heaven and hell is right here on earth. I did suggest to them reading sacred texts that they're not going to find recommended by their church, and lost books of the Bible, which are actually not lost. So sacredtext.com has all the wonderful, delicious, magical text. It has all the religions, actually. I'd visit there, and if you're Christian, I would study the Apocrypha, Old Testament Sudi Pigrapha, and they also have like the 5 books of Moses, to include 6 and 7. So we discussed those books that they had not heard of, for them to go back and study or read. That contains lots of goodies in them. And then the real story of Adam and Eve, things of that nature. We also discussed chakra alignment, crystals, altar setup, and having your ancestor altar set up first, ghost money. We discussed Orisha, Cometics, Christianity and its origins, which is from Cometics. And then some of my personal experiences as far as working with the Orishas. I did recommend to them my book, full of magic. It's got candle magic. It's got photographs of my altars in there that I use for transformation. I did recommend them having an altar in the home just like they do at the church. It discusses a little bit about each of the orishas, what they like, things of that nature. That can be found on my Amazon page under Denelsia Walker, or you can find it on my Etsy, the autographed copy on my Etsy page, Delcia Secrets Arts. No spaces in between. DELCIA, secrets like Victoria's Secrets, and then art. Okay. I told her that with Christianity, it was the removal of female and the male divinity between the Ankh and the Christianity cross, and what that means in society upbringing. We've got war and politics versus having the male and the female energy. We discussed different versions of the Bible. There is more than just the King James Version. So we went through those. Like for my book, they've got the Tree of Life version of the Bible, the Amplified Bible, the new International Version. Let's see. New Century Version. So start studying different Bible types, okay? Orthodox Jewish Bible. English Standard Version. God's Words Translation, Names of God Bible, Wycliffe Bible, The Voice. Speaking of voice, oh, that reminds me. A lot of people are hurting in their throat chakra. So let me just put my voice pen on. All right. We discussed, she asked me my favorite scripture, so I read my favorite scripture to her out of this book, which I took from 40 Money Scriptures, actually, from Valerie Love. She no longer has it available on her platform. But that's okay. I got it in this book and we did it. I want to say most of the people who visit Salkis are wanting to know how to attract what they're looking for as far as the other party, as far as a partnership of who to be with. I'm not around for that. I was at first. But there is so much more to life. And I have realized some truths and some eye-openers that maybe that's not all it's signed up to be. Wonderful if you have it and find it and it's everything you want, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to live my birthright. So my favorite scripture is Numbers 27, 1-7, where it talks about the daughters of Zelophehad, son of Hefner, the son of Ulid, and the son of Makar, and the son of Manasseh. So for my latest book, I put in Birthright Quotes, and 40 Money Scriptures. That is available as well on my Amazon and Denelsia Secrets Arts page for the autographed copy on my Denelsia Secrets Arts. So I read out of that to them. And then we talked about Akashic Records and wealth grimoires. Before I started studying a book called 40 Money Spells by Valerie Love, I had never heard of an Akashic record or a wealth grimoire. That one is available on her website, valerielove.com. We talked about books, lingerie, the lingerie line that I'm getting up and submitting proposals for. The Hoes Be Winning clothesline that I just started on spring. Uniqueness, creating the life you desire. Altar assistance, spending time in nature, meditation, yoga, walking. I love swimming too. Uh, Swimming, whirlpool, steam rings, all that. Realizing that you are artwork like Mona Lisa. So, Jasmine Sullivan has a song called Mona Lisa Masterpiece. You are a masterpiece. Your creator put you here. You are the art, honey. Start treating yourself like artwork. Um, because that's what you are. So we discussed that. And then in Val's book, she says to chase wisdom, not money, in her 40 Money Spells book. And be content in your authentic self. All right. We talked about dating questions to ask up front initially, whether you desire marriage or not. You still need to be on the same page when you meet. So I gave them all the dating questions they needed to ask out of this book here, Codependent Silence No More. Let's see here. And that they would need to reiterate those same questions as often as they felt comfortable or felt they needed to. We talked about escorting, luxury dates, the purpose of having a tip sheet, price sheet, hoe sheet, whatever you want to call it. Safety practices on hoe or trick dates, carrying a trick or treat hoe bag. I showed them what I had in my hoe bag. I call it a trick or treat bag. What to keep in it, street talk for lingo, prices, and where to find the tricks at. Okay. We talked about races, keeping options open based off of statistics and safety practices financially if married. I did do a short video to post up after I do this summary on race preferences. Okay. The question that was asked is, are white men better than black men? So I just did a whole separate video on how I felt about that. So I'll post it up and put it in the link once this one finishes. I'll just put it on my YouTube and then I'll also put it in the link. We'll talk about it. And then differences between how African American women and Caucasian women approach relationships. Cultures that have stopped dating or marrying because they find that benefits are not worth it in regards to the traditional roles expected versus having their own thoughts, life, and career. And we talked about that as well. The article was on, I believe, Chinese women who had stopped dating and marrying, and the government was having to intervene because there was no babies being born and nobody was dating and marrying or thinking about having kids. But that is how the cycle of life continues. So that is an issue. So we talked about things that might be more beneficial towards women to get to that point of wanting to be in a relationship or marry. So that was an interesting conversation. Um, Unlearning illusions, overcoming fears, facing shadows, techniques in which to do so, new moon and full moon rituals. The ritual they like the most. Um, so on the new moon, you're setting your intentions for the month. On the full moon, you are releasing your shadows, your doubts, your fears. You're doing shadow work. And the one that they like the most that I suggest is you take it. You write down everything that you are having a problem with. You give your shadow a job. Um, you tear it up. You take it to the cemetery. You bury it. We also discussed the importance of spiritual bath. A bath is not just a bath before you get in front of the altar. The bath is a spiritual bath. You are adding flowers, fresh rose petals. You're also adding essential oils, or you're adding bath salts, things of that nature to your bath before you get in front of your altar. Let's see. I talked about my weight loss journey. I used to be over 400 pounds. I'm no longer that. Um, yeah, so we talked about that and some of the obstacles I faced because I wasn't able to walk for about 2 months. I did do yoga and swimming while I wasn't able to walk in the hospital. And it took me about a week because I was paralyzed from the waist down after having my bariatric surgery. And then I stayed with my parents for 2 months while I was getting my walking back up and going to physical therapy. And then when I got back home, I was still on the walker for the remainder of the year. And I was doing yoga at that time for strengthening and flexibility and things of that nature. So that's how I got into yoga. Let's see. We discussed the word love. Love is a business. Start with self-love and care. Everyone and everything has a right to be here, despite if it's an innocent baby or if you're Jeffrey Dahmer, a roach or a butterfly. And we discussed that self-pity does not pay. We talked about looking out for your finances first is not being a gold digger. It is being a goal digger. That is called wisdom. If you have fears of living in your God abundance, how are you going to love someone else if not loving yourself without fear? The best way you can love. Date or marry who treat you right, fall in love if desire after that, not before. Just like they do in Africa. The man pays the family money to marry you. He knew your worth to his legacy, and he went ahead and he purchased. He made that arrangement with the family, and he gave them money, or he gave them possessions or materials. Knowing your worth. If you're not sure of your worth and you think that you are worth only $5, you need to price the cost to replace items in your body if a transplant is needed off the black market pricing list. Create yourself a whole tip sheet, and after visiting the adult entertainment or escort sites to browse for what they charge. Visit a sex toy shop, look at all the DVDs in categories, the lingerie in your size, especially if you are a plus size lady. My favorite site to shop off of for lingerie before I started doing my own was Yeti, and they carry Playboy. Let's see here. I mean, I should have stock in them. Yeti.com. Yeah, I was always shopping on them like white on rice, brown on rice, however on rice, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, um, look around you. They've got plus size models, plus size actresses, plus size comedian, plus size musical artists. I guarantee your category is there somewhere. Okay? Wake up every day and turn on your swag. People do we discussed that people do not value what is free. They value what they spend their money or their time on. Money is time. Think like a stripper. Photographer, videographer, house painter, time is money. And father, mother, time is fast. Don't let yours be wasted. Uh, Erica Badu said, time's a wasted. Okay. So you are the superhero and you are the villain. Okay. Sorry about that. You are the superhero and the villain. Simultaneously in your own novel or movie. Will you What you hate or love is a mirror reflection of a piece of you. And then I reminded them that the Bible is allegorical and metaphysical. It contains astrology, quantum physics, numerology, and lots of magic. Um, I did recommend to them to study a book called Doctrine of Ritual and High Magic off of Amazon. And it talks about where the Bible came from and how the different religions were formed together. I recommended that they read The Tree of Life in Kemetic and Egyptian metaphysics, study the Kabbalah and the Hermetic principles. Hermetic, sorry. Um, I almost forgot Hammadi in the Bible, Hammadi. And then Solomon has a lot of magical books. Let's see. And then other books I would recommend are an etymology dictionary. English language is cursed, is taken from hieroglyphics. And when they reworded it, they changed the spell because when you're talking, you're spell casting. Start changing how you talk with yourself. Okay. Let's see here. The Encyclopedia of Spirits, the ultimate guide to the magic of saints, angels, fairies, demons, and ghosts, witchcraft, and spells. If you are looking for a man, I recommend the book The Art of Seduction. And then if you are more leaning towards the money or financial portion, I did recommend the 40-Day Prosperity Plan by John Randolph. Also 40 Money Mantras, 40 Money Spells by Valerie Love. And then to dig more into your subconscious, I would go ahead and I would read Interview with the Devil. Okay, so that is the summary of what was discussed during the Salkis Ray interview. Um, if you have any additional questions, I'm here. Um, you can leave them in the comments and I will be sure to get back with you. And I thank you for tuning in. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Mwah.